I moved to Philadelphia in 2012. I'm originally from New York, but I moved to Philly in 2012 from Queens, where I grew up. Yeah, all right. And I moved here to be part of a volunteer service program after I graduated from college. And it was a year-long service program where you worked at a soup kitchen in Kensington. It's called the St. Francis Inn, if you've ever heard of it. Yeah, it's right underneath the Market Frankfurt line, the elevated train, and it's right there on Haggart and Kensington. And it's this one block, and we have about 8 brownstone houses and then a big soup kitchen, and all of the people from Kensington come there and we serve sit-down dinners. So it was a really fabulous experience. I worked there 5 days a week. I lived there, got room and board. I didn't make any money really. We got like $80 a month stipend. So it was just this interesting experience where you live in community and you do this service work. So I learned from a lot of amazing people there. There were people there that had been there for like 30 years. They gave up their careers. They gave up their lives to live here and to do this service. So I learned from all these fabulous people, and I was able to discover what it means to be a real, authentic person and do what you're called to do. And it was around this time, I was 22 years old, and it was around this time that I realized that I kind of wanted to be a real, authentic person. So it was this time that I started coming out as gay to my friends and to my family. And I came out to the people I work with, and you know, you think a Catholic institution, it was kind of a rough place to come out, but it wasn't, because this wasn't really the hierarchy. These were people who were just doing service in Kensington. So we had nuns there who had a gay brother. One of our volunteer workers had a lesbian sister. So it was all these people who kind of knew what the deal was. So I didn't feel bad about coming out to these people. So it was a really positive experience. I came out to my friends, I came out to my family, and it was great. And if anyone has ever had to come out before, you know that when you come out, it's not really just telling people the gender you like. You start coming to a new culture. You start coming into a new scene. And that's what I did. I totally went out. I went out into the neighborhood and I made friends and I was doing all this stuff. I got into drag. So I started doing drag, and that was something that I still continue to this day. And actually standing right here in Latage was where I won my first drag pageant. Yeah, it was. That was like 4 years ago, so it was great. And I was wearing this big blonde wig, and I had a guitar, and I was singing an acoustic cover of Snoop Dogg's Gin and Juice, and it was great. I don't know if you remember that, Leslie, but yeah, so that was great. So a lot of people came to the soup kitchen, whether they were volunteers or whether they were people that came to use our services, or whether they were the exterminator. So our exterminator came once a month and went around to every room within our 8 houses there, and went into every room, every basement, every corner, and went around spraying his stuff in order to make sure that everything was fine. And I had the job of taking the exterminator around with my big set of keys. And we were there, and I let him into every house, and I went with him as he did his job in order to make sure that our block of Kensington stayed clean of all the little creatures that might make their way into our homes. This guy was a big, manly man. He was gruff. He was from Kensington, and as he said, he escaped Kensington in his own words, and he got out there, got a job, and he was now an exterminator. So he was coming back and doing this. And I was coming out to a lot of people at that point. I was coming out to friends, I was coming out to family, and honestly, I just did not feel like coming out to the exterminator. So if you're gay, you know that you don't come out once, you come out all the time. You're constantly telling people that you are gay. I mean, if they're important to you. And so this guy just assumed that I was straight, like a lot of people tend to do with people if they don't know their sexual orientation. So we would talk about things like the game and girls. And one time he saw a bra on my floor, which was really just a part of the costume the night before. But he looked at me and he was like, "Oh, all right, man, I see what's going on here." And I just thought, yeah. So So it was nice in a way. I don't know what it was. Maybe it was the lingering internalized homophobia, but for some reason I liked that. I liked that 20 minutes every month where this guy came. He didn't know my name, I didn't know his name, but we talked about, I pretended to know about sports, and we gave really firm handshakes. And it was fine. And this went on for 5 years because I worked there for 5 years. And it was good. But one time I was there and I was cooking in the soup kitchen that day. And he came into the soup kitchen with his papers and he said, when am I done? Okay, thanks. And he came in with his papers and I was there and I was like, all right, you ready to go? And I grabbed the set of keys and he said, they already took me around. And I said, oh. Someone else had already brought him around to every room and I had missed it. And I rewound, and this was when I still drank. So the night before, I was out drinking and all of my drag was all over my bedroom floor, tossed everywhere. There was a wig over there, there was a pair of stilettos over there, there was all this stuff all over the place. And he looked at me and I had this sinking, horrible feeling. And I had already come out to my mom and my dad, so I don't know why this guy made me feel this way. And he said, I think we gotta talk. And immediately I got defensive and I said, you're just my exterminator. I didn't say that. And I immediately made an excuse. I said, well, I got a lot of things to do right now. So then the next month, I dreaded the exterminator coming, when he was gonna come. And he came and I brought him into the houses as usual. And then he turned to me right as he got in the door and he said, I gotta ask you a question. I said, yeah. He said, are you a cross-dresser? And I said, no, I'm a drag queen. And he looked and he thought and he said, all right, people should be able to do whatever they got to do. And I thought, that's it. And I thought to myself, I was like, you got to just get rid of this feeling of having to pretend to be something you're not. You're going to have this whole life ahead of you. And if this exterminator is somebody that's going to intimidate you, you got to let that go. You got to wrap it up. And the exterminator, he walked out the door and he was going out and he turned and he looked at me and he said, on the corner of Coral and Frankfurt, there's a really great thrift store. Thank you.